Hey guys, this is Mr. A. Crizzy here, and today I'm going to be doing a TV show review, and today it's on an animated TV show from 1996 to 1998, and that is All Dogs Go to Heaven, the series. Yep, that's based on the first two All Dogs Go to Heaven movies from 1989 and 1996. So, the plot of All Dogs Go to Heaven, the series, is basically where it takes place in San Francisco, and so Charlie and Itchy, they both live in San Francisco as guardian angels, and in each episode they are given an assignment by Annabelle, who's the pink whippet angel. But then as Charlie and Itchy are trying to do the right thing, they come across some very awkward and awkward situations. So that's pretty much the basic plot of All Dogs Go to Heaven, the series. Now, what do I think of it? I used to like this show a lot. I used to like the show a lot when I first got one episode of it on iTunes back in 2009 or 2010, and for what it is, I mean, and also, to be honest, I've actually seen most episodes of All Dogs Go to Heaven, the series, and I do remember seeing DVDs of it, like a little bit of DVDs of the series itself, and for what it is, I used to like the show a lot back when I first watched it, but now that I think of it, it's kind of an okay show. It's an okay show in my opinion, like the theatrical sequel, All Dogs Go to Heaven 2 from 1996, and of course the Christmas special or Christmas movie, An All Dogs Christmas Carol. I mean, that Christmas movie's okay in my opinion, but here's the point, because when I first heard that All Dogs Go to Heaven has a real sequel, I was kind of thinking, did All Dogs Go to Heaven really deserve a sequel? I mean, I was thinking maybe All Dogs Go to Heaven didn't really need a sequel at all, but of course then they had to make the sequel anyway, because what I'm talking about here, guys, is that if you watch the first movie's from final scene, like the ending scene in the first movie where Charlie says goodbye to Anne Marie, if you watch that scene very carefully, then you'll see what I'm talking about, because if you watch that final scene very carefully, then it kind of does explain that All Dogs Go to Heaven didn't really need a sequel, and that, because I know exactly how the ending turns out, and I mean, it's very sad and emotional, but at least it gives us a very good point about forgiveness, and that about forgiveness. Yeah, because at least the final scene in the first All Dogs Go to Heaven movie, it has a really good example of what the true meaning of forgiveness is. And of course that's pretty weird that people on Facebook in the Tell Us About It group, they just ignore that, and just, I don't know why they do. I don't know why they ignore that, but still. I'm just saying, guys, I was thinking All Dogs Go to Heaven didn't really need a sequel after all. I mean, even though they kind of did it anyway, but as for the show itself I think is okay too. I mean, I just like the first All Dogs Go to Heaven movie the best, from 1989, directed by Don Bluth. But how does the show turn out? All Dogs Go to Heaven, the series. How does it turn out? Well, I think the animation is pretty good. I mean, the animation, and all the colors, it's pretty colorful to look at. Like the locations, it is pretty colorful, and the voice actors do a pretty good job. Like Steven Weber was the voice of Charlie on the show, and I thought Steven Weber did decent. Don DeLuise is Itchy once again, and he does really great as Itchy, as well as Bebe Neuwirth as Annabelle. I thought she did good, and yeah, and of course Ernest Borgnine, who was the second voice of Carface instead of Vic Tayback from the first movie. I thought Ernest Borgnine did pretty good, and Charles Nelson Riley is on the show, and he wasn't in the second movie, but Charles Nelson Riley's on the show as well as Killer, and Charles Nelson Riley is really good as Killer. But there's many different changes, which some it does make sense, of course, where they took out Anne Marie from the first movie and replaced her with a boy named David, some sort, yeah. But yeah, and of course, I also heard that there's also a little bit of video games based on All Dogs Go to Heaven as well, and there's also one called All Dogs Go to Heaven Activity Center, which kind of does sound similar to the Disney Activity Centers. But yeah, so overall, All Dogs Go to Heaven, the series, is a pretty decent, okay show from 1996 to 1998, and I'm gonna give All Dogs Go to Heaven, the series, I'm gonna give All Dogs Go to Heaven, the series, 3.5 out of 5 stars. Yeah, I'll say 3 out of 5 stars. It's okay and decent for what it is. So but if you're a fan of the animation, and if you're like a diehard fan of All Dogs Go to Heaven, then I'm sure you'll love All Dogs Go to Heaven the series. And yeah, especially that I love Sasha as well. I think Sasha's pretty cute, I'll say. Almost as cute as Flo from the first movie, played by Lonnie Anderson, like Flo. But yeah, guys. So if you haven't seen the show yet, and if you're like a huge fan of All Dogs Go to Heaven, then I'm sure you'll love it. Then I recommend it. But to some people out there who are not really interested in watching All Dogs Go to Heaven the series, and not even the theatrical sequel or the Christmas movie, then I'd say just stick with the first All Dogs Go to Heaven movie from 1989, directed by Don Bluth. Because the first movie was actually one of my childhood movies, and I mean, it is kind of like a disturbing movie where some scenes may be scary for younger viewers, like especially when Charlie dreams about going to hell. But yeah, so in my opinion, I recommend the first All Dogs Go to Heaven movie, but the show itself is okay and decent for what it is, in my opinion. Yeah, because it's like I have mixed feelings and opinions on the show and the sequel and the Christmas movie, so. Alright guys, so that's going to be it for my TV show review on All Dogs Go to Heaven, the series. And so that's going to be it for this video, so make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. And as always, thanks for watching, and until next time, this is Mr. A. Crizzy saying, goodbye everybody, and that's about it.